on a stick. Burp, 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 burp.
Boop. Happy anniversary, ladies.
Happy anniversary. It's our
Oh, are we actually, we're alive now?
our
Oh,
5 year anniversary. 5 year anniversary.
wait, wait. We, oh, we get a cat. She wants the stick.
Most appropriate to have a cat.
Yes.
Yes,
I can't find
five
my
years
earpiece.
ago today. 5 years ago today,
Yay.
There we go.
we created the LLC for Little Metal Foxes.
There you go. Happy anniversary. Thank you for joining us, everybody, on Tooltip Tuesday. So, this week on Tooltip Tuesday, one of the
You're not going
things
to tell them who you are?
I'm Jennifer from Little Metal Foxes. Who are you?
I am Julia from Little Metal Foxes. Created the
And
LLC.
Oh, hold on. Audio issues. There we go. And I'm Helen from Little Metal Foxes, live in Australia. Woo!
and there's a tale of a Darcy, I see.
Nope, that's not a Darcy.
Is that a Miri?
That's a Miri.
Okay. They have very similar tails.
I know they do.
Well, hi everybody. And one of the things that you guys, if you're in the Seattle area or a member of the Seattle Metals Guild, you may know that the Seattle's Metals Guild is putting on a show for it's called From Wave to Shining Wave.
From Wave to Shining Wave.
And it is a basically a tribute show to one of the country's most amazing metalsmiths, who was providing us with Mokame Gane. Mokame Gane is a Japanese metal technique that would give these beautiful patterns in metal using different kinds of metal. You know, Julia's got some beautiful examples.
Yeah.
Right there. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So you can see that the different metals would sort of pop up in the surface, depending on how you layered it, how you change it, how you chisel it, how you run it through the mill. So some of them might have silver, copper, shibuichi, gold, in them, or argentium in them. So there's different alloys or different, laminations of metal. Some of them go like that's sort of an end cut that's been milled flat for the stripy bits. And then this is kind of like that stripy bits milled out as well. But a lot of times you're looking at that, those kinds of patterns that Julia's got there that are the kind of the agate pattern or the sort of rainbow pattern.
Or wood grain pattern.
Wood grain sort of pattern, yeah. So one of the things that is always I think a challenge and one of the most interesting things about Mokame is getting a beautiful patina on it. And the Mokame will age on its own. So this is sort of aged just, kind of being around, and the copper is kind of aged really beautifully. But you can get really lovely patinas using different materials. One of them is the Baldwin's patina. So Philip Baldwin has one that is kind of like a Rokusho patina, which is traditional on Mokame Gane, that gives all these metals different colors. So I've been working on a pair of earrings.
Oh, I love those earrings. Oh. I love all three of your earrings that you've made.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, so you can kind of see the Mokame Gane grain on that bottom part there. And I've got a couple of other pieces. And you can see some of these on the on Instagram. But
those are my favorites. Those are the ones that they're just really elegant with the fossil. Is it fossil palm on the bottom or fossil coral?
Coral, yeah, fossilized coral on the bottom of those. And then this bit here is
the video doesn't do them justice.
Thank you.
They're very beautiful. I got to see them in person. They're the only ones I've seen in person, and they are really spectacular.
And those are a different patina, and you can see those on Instagram. Better post of those. But
Julia has a beautiful little chime ball that she's made.
Let's see your chime ball. Oh, that is so cool.
It is so pretty.
Yeah, pin that.
Yeah, I will say it every time. Those chime balls are not easy, even though they look simple.
See, show it again, Julia.
You can see the seam. This is one of the downsides of doing a patterned metal with making a globe shape, is that you're going to be able to see the seam. Yeah. But I set it up so that the bail is this way so that you don't see the seam on the front. It's It's made, I didn't realize this when I was making it. I thought it was Mokame, but this is metal that I had inherited from someone. And so
It is Mokame.
it's actually, well, yes, it is
Not
Mokame,
Shining
but
Wave.
it may be Shining Wave, but it's
Oh,
Shibuichi is one of
mm,
the layers, and I didn't know
yeah,
that, so I didn't understand why it was doing this gray. Like you can see that center chunk here
Yeah,
is, whoops, kind of
it's three colors instead of just two.
right. And so it's silver is the white, and then the copper is the red, and then these areas here that are sort of gray are the Shibuichi. And I didn't realize that that's what I had, and so I thought something was not right. I was like,
Yeah,
"What's
well,
wrong?"
and that's one of the cool
But
things about
Jennifer cleared that up for me.
yeah, that's one of the cool things about Mokame. I mean, you can use people that make Mokame from scratch. A lot of times they'll use like silver, nickel, and argentium, and they're going to give you really, really subtle but different colors of white, like
Hmm.
in that sort of wood grain. Or you
Hmm.
can use like gold and copper, and you get, very distinct differences, or silver,
yeah,
gold, copper, and then you get like that white, the yellow, and then the darker browns or reds. So, the mokame can be made with different kinds of layers in it to give you different colors, but patinas can give you different colors as well. And I've got a couple of them here that I was going to show you. One of the things too that I think is really good to do is make sure you're prepping your metal with something like a patina prep to make sure there's no oils and grease on the surface. If you're buying something like the Baldwin's prep or Baldwin's patina, here we go. Like the Baldwin's patina here, spotlight me, people. There we go. Or any of the liver sulphur patinas, it's really kind of a good idea to use something like, and they sell this, you can find it any place that sells the Baldwin's patina, is the no name patina prep. And the no name patina prep, we've been looking kind of at just about every place that sells the Baldwin's patina sells the no name patina prep. And it basically, upon a little bit of research, and I had heard this in a couple of different areas, that it's barkeeper's friend. And so you can get that at the grocery store, you said, Julia, for how much?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you're placing an order, if you don't have any barkeeper's friend and you're placing an order for Baldwin's patina and you're buying some
Yeah,
and they have the no name patina, you can get it directly from one of the jewelry suppliers,
yeah,
but you'll pay a third if you just buy a can of barkeeper's friend at Safeway or
yeah.
Target.
Yeah,
And
and
then
that stuff's great.
I use this to just clean metal generally. You do need
Yeah,
to be careful in the sense that you don't want it on your hands, like the same with most cleanser. You should wear gloves or use a toothbrush.
yeah,
And
right,
you want to use it wet.
right.
So you always
So
want to moisten it.
So in the preparation of using the no name or the barkeeper's friend, what you want to do is use it liberally on the surface of the metal, add some water and build up a paste, and let it
Hmm.
sit on there for at least a couple of minutes, and that'll remove any of the oxides that are on the surface and help it be more receptive to your patinas. I usually do this with hot water when I'm doing it. So that way, if there's any grease or anything that's on the surface, any residue of any kind, it usually will eliminate that immediately.
So one of the major uh, active ingredients in this is
Oxalic
that's
acid.
cool.
oxalic acid, which is why letting it sit on your metal for a bit will let the acid eat away any of the, it'll
Smooth it
basically etch the surface a little bit. What it probably is doing is it's etching kind of all of the material a little bit, but it's going to remove tarnish and patina from, or oxides from any of the surface and leave it,
Right.
and grease. It'll break down the grease too, which is a big issue, right?
Yeah. It seems to do a little bit of that and kind of it's like it opens up the dendrites or something in the surface of the crystals in the metal that make it a lot more receptive. But
To the
I was
patina.
I was going to go over here to my bench. Here we go. And let me turn my light on over here. There we go. Light, light. There we go. Okay, this light. There we go. All right, get a little light on the subject here. So I've
Indeed.
got my got a little my coffee pot that I get stuff warm in. So I've got some hot water right now.
Mhm.
And what I'm going to do here, I've got a little bit of the Patina or the Mokame, and this is the agate pattern that I've got here. So what I'm
Mhm.
going to do is clean this and do a with the barkeeper's friend. So just kind of, or the no-name patina, rub and open. So it's kind of like this one's in like a little seasoning pack. There we go. And it doesn't take a whole lot of that's my water bottle, but this really kind of helps, build up that remove any oxides. And this looked pretty clean to start, but as I'm working on it, here we go. As I'm working on it, I can definitely see some of the oxides coming up, and it already
Mhm.
looked clean. So you can really tell that this does a pretty good job of removing any oxides. And be sure to hold it by the edge and not touch the surface, if you're trying to get a really smooth, clean patina. But I can see that's really lifting off a lot of oxides there.
Mhm.
Um, and just make sure you rinse it really thoroughly. So I'm looking for my water to just sheet off the surface, which it's doing really beautifully. So nice job.
Because if it's not sheeting off the surface,
Right. It means there's some oils and grease on the surface.
right.
And so when you go to patina that, it's going to resist some of that patina. So what I'm going to do is when I do my patinas, here we go. Here we go. When I do my patinas, I like to use hot water when I do this. And I find that it makes a difference because the metal's already hot on contact. So when I put it in, it's going to be already hot. So I'm going to leave it in there for just a second. And I've got the lime sulphur here. And I usually use just a couple of drops here in my hot water. Some people like to add a couple of drops of ammonia when they do this too, if they're working with silver and they really want to accentuate the um, kind of the rainbow colors.
Mhm. It'll accentuate the blues, won't it?
Yes, it will.
Mhm.
So just dipping that in a little bit of the way. It doesn't have to be too terribly strong. And you can see that
Whoops, we got a big reflection. We can't see that. Yeah.
already starting to give me some color. And it needs oxygen to really pop those colors up and to react. So there we go. And I can see the patina really starting to work on that surface. Then what I'll do is give it a rinse. And oops, grab the other bottle. There we go. Give that a rinse. Um, and I like to use a brass brush for this. And just lightly brush the surface with a
You're kind of
brass
out
brush.
of the you're kind of out of the picture.
Sorry.
There you
Give it a
go.
little brass brush. And
Look, with some soap,
no, just a little bit of soap, water on the surface.
right? Because
Give
if
it
you don't use soap, if you don't use a lubricant, you're just going to put brass on there.
That's right. That's true. So using a little bit of uh, soap as the lubricant. There we go. And giving it a little brush here. There we go. The sulfurs will actually change the sterling as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got, let's see if I can get that a little clearer for you guys. Here we go. There we go. So you can see how this is just like a
Still
first,
out of focus.
a
That's
little
a little
first
better.
dip on there.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to see
Yeah.
because it's so shiny.
So then I'll do a second dip.
Mm.
And I find with the second dip, I usually get a much prettier finish. There.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So I
You do
usually
it twice.
yeah, I usually dip it twice.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah. So dipping it twice. There we go. Yeah, there we go. So dipping it twice will sort of pull up the copper, will change the silver and give me, kind of that sort of rainbowy effect, just like that. But I can get it darker as well. But let's take a look at the Baldwin's patina and see what it will do. Where'd my Baldwin's patina go? Oops, where did it go? Oh, there it is. So this is the Baldwin's patina right there.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's out of focus, so we couldn't see that.
yeah. So again, I'm just going to dip this in the hot water and kind of warm it up.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if this was the brass and copper, I wouldn't warm it up. I'd just use it straight cold. But using a few drops, oops, on my
Yeah.
Q-tip here.
Can you lower your hands a bit? There you go.
Yeah. So using the Baldwin's patina,
Wow.
you can see it developing, right? And this will only affect the copper and it keeps the silver white. So it'll take the copper up to kind of a red brown. It accelerates its
It's natural process.
color. Yeah. So there we go. So that's just like a drop or three, right on there. So you can really see the difference there. Whoop. There we go. So it does not take very much, but it's a big difference between what it looks like with liver sulphur
Yeah.
Mhm.
and the Baldwin's patina. Right? There we go.
So be aware, people.
Yeah.
If you patina your metal before you do something to it, if you have to heat it, you're gonna burn all that patina off.
Yeah.
So you
And
always want to do this at the end.
right. Now I can dip it in, putting it back in the hot water for a second to warm it up, and that accelerates the
You get back into the
oops,
frame.
there we go. So I dipped it back in the hot water to warm it up again. And so there we go. You can really tell the difference here, right? There. Look at that. This is the Baldwin's patina,
Wow.
and that's the liver sulphur. Now I can use the Baldwin's over
Oh my gosh, look at that.
liver sulphur. And kind of layer those two a little bit.
Mhm.
And that'll
Interesting.
give me, yeah. So it just gives me a darker version of the one below,
Hmm.
right? So there you go.
Fascinating. Okay.
Pretty.
Cool.
This almost
Very
looks
cool.
like Damascus, right?
Hmm.
It's
Hmm.
dimensional.
Yeah, and I was gonna say the Mokame Gane is similar in idea to Damascus steel in case people don't know. Yeah,
Yes,
where you're layering the metals and you're creating patterns by manipulating the metal when you're forging it.
exactly. Exactly right. So it's and by sort of chiseling into it and filing into it, you can build up all kinds of really beautiful patterns. And so using chisels or punches or stamps and working the backside of the metal and then filing it down, you can get some beautiful, beautiful stuff. So these can both be done, or the not both, but this can also be done by just warming up the mokame, and uh, the coppers will start to age their natural colors as you work. So, but
Yeah, I guess sort of like when you flame color the copper,
yes,
that it would be the
exactly.
same sort
Yeah.
of thing. Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
So you can actually just do like a heat patina. Now, some people like to do a finish of like a really thin um, wax coating on this. So you can use stuff like Renaissance wax to sort of seal that and stop it from really changing color any further. But that gives you two completely different, you know,
Hmm.
like a black and white version and a full color version
Yeah.
of the patinas. So, you know,
I had no idea that you could layer patinas like that. That's
isn't that
very
crazy?
cool.
Yeah. So it really pops those colors up even a little bit more. But yeah, if you want a really high contrast, the Baldwin's patina will do that because it doesn't affect the sterling at all. So the liver of sulfur, as you know, is going to change the silver color, but this stuff really works on the copper in particular. And were this brass and copper, this would be super yellow against the brown of the patina there.
Interesting.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. All
So
right.
there you go, people. So that's the difference in what they do. Um, Hopefully you guys will give that a try if you're working with some Mokame, and that would be helpful for you guys to be able to, there we go. Let me switch my camera over there. Yeah, and so even if you're using like marriage of metal techniques or you're doing, you know, sort of twisted metals and trying to get different colors, you know, it's not just for Mokame, the Baldwin's patina. It's good for copper to really boost that color up without
Yeah, and your
changing the sword.
Shibuichi, if you're doing Shibuichi work.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So there you go. So that's our tool tip for today with Baldwin's patina.
Yay!
Yay. All right. Yeah, join us next week. We're going to actually have on the coming up, we're going to have Renee Ford is going to be joining us on the
Woohoo!
27th. So we're pretty excited about that to see her.
She's got
And
some new products.
she does have some new stuff she wants to show us. That's called Set It. So it's like a thermoplastic. So anyway, Renee is going to be here next week. So join us next week for Tooltip Tuesday. And if you have any questions or if you've got a patina that you really love to use, put it in the comments below so we know what it is that you like to do and how you use it differently than maybe what I showed you today. And make sure you hit that like button. Did you hit the like button? Go hit it right now. We're watching you. Go hit that like button. There's at least one like on there. Okay. So yeah, hit the like button and ring the bell and subscribe and all that stuff, and that way you'll know when we're live. We love answering your questions, and we will see you next week on Tooltip Tuesday.
Yay!